This video is going to be the one-stop shop to the simple, effective, and easy to implement player development system to play college baseball. So first and foremost, who am I? If you're new here, my name is Evan Mendoza, and I'm the founder of the Mendoza Baseball Academy, where we help serious high school baseball players turn into college prospects by leveraging player development and the recruiting strategy. I also have 7 years of professional baseball experience under my belt between the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Diego Padres. I also played for Columbia in the World Baseball Classic in 2023. I also played 3 years at the D1 level in the ACC at NC State University, and I also studied aerospace engineering my time there. I was also on varsity all 4 years of my high school baseball career, so I'm basically just here to share all of that knowledge with you. And you're going to want to stay until the end because I'm going to share with you a live demo of what it would look like inside my academy, and I'm also going to share with you some video testimonials. So first and foremost, what are we not? So we are not a recruiting service. We are not just a course. We are not a cookie cutter approach, not just a library of drills, not in-person lessons or showcases or camps, and we are definitely not a middleman networking vehicle for your player. So how do I help? Inside my academy, we use the triple play to help our students develop their skills and knowledge of the game while on a recruiting path to attract college coaches' interest with the physical development, the mental development, and the recruiting guidance. So real quick, I just wanted to hop in here because I don't want to waste your guys' time. We can only help serious high school baseball players play at the next level. So if your son's in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, just have him wait a couple of years. And then also if your son doesn't take the game of baseball seriously, just back away from this video. There's also a ton of hands-on work one-on-one with all of my students. So spots are limited, but again, if your son is a serious high school baseball player, keep watching the rest of this video. It's going to be ultra valuable. So is this you? Is your son not on any college coaches' radars? Maybe you guys are confused by the recruiting process. Maybe his structure could be improved as far as how he's developing. Maybe his development has just ultimately plateaued and you haven't seen any growth. And maybe you guys just don't have anyone in your corner. And this ultimately leads to not taking action, feeling like it's not the right time to email college coaches. Maybe he's trying to create the perfect program to follow along. Maybe he just lacks overall confidence and you guys are spinning your wheels and he's being overlooked by these college coaches. And this really stinks because he has been training hard and you know that for a fact. Your family has invested a lot in their journey and he's way better than the competition. But ultimately, you guys are using an old school approach. 1 hour private lessons a week with either a hitting coach, a pitching coach, speed and agility, maybe a private gym instructor. You guys are neglecting the overall mental development. Maybe he's writing his own programs in his notes app. You guys are being passive with letting college coaches, find him. You guys are maybe using a recruiting service that gives you little to nothing, and you're waiting around for your travel ball or high school coach to, ultimately help you out in this recruiting process. That's something that ultimately happened to me in my journey as well. And this is, what most people do in the recruiting process. Number one, they focus way too much on the recruiting side of things. Maybe you guys send anywhere from 5 to 40 emails to college coaches, make a 3-minute highlight video and post it on YouTube or TikTok or Twitter or Instagram, and you rely on your coach to connect you with those college coaches. You go to as many showcases and camps that time and money will allow. And this is why a lot of people struggle. Being a great baseball player is priority number one, all right? So if you think you're going to get college offers from writing a good email, you've been fed some bad information. 10 to 40 emails really just isn't going to cut it, guys. You have to do a lot more, but if doing more sounds overwhelming, just wait until the end of this video. I'm going to show you exactly how we can change that. But a 3-minute highlight video is ultimately a waste of these college coaches' time. There is a time and place to send a 3-minute highlight video, but the very first time, that is not the right way to go about it. And you're not going to go viral on social media. I don't instruct all my students to try to go viral. We're going to really use this as a database. So your coach also, hate to break it to you guys, but probably isn't that well connected. And at the end of the day, they just simply don't have the bandwidth to make 50 calls on your behalf. They probably, told every single one of the families in the entire travel ball organization the same exact thing. And if you think about it, they can't manually, call every single coach because they just don't have the bandwidth. They are going to pick up the phone when college coaches call them, but they're not necessarily going to initiate those conversations. And then also, college coaches watch players at showcases and camps that they've already seen or talked to before. So if you're going to these evaluation events like college camps or showcases, you're not going to necessarily get the exposure. The exposure happens before those evaluation events. All right, so parents and players do a mix of all of these throughout their sophomore and junior year, and ultimately you might panic when senior year rolls around. And this is where you might not have a ton of interest from college coaches, and this is the unfortunate part. You guys might end up settling. All right, so it's critical you solve these problems as soon as possible because there are less scholarships and roster spots every day that passes. All right, there are more spots today available for your son than there will be tomorrow. That is just a proven fact. So here's what we're going to do instead. The triple play, right? The physical, the mental, and the recruiting. So physical development, what's included inside the triple play? I bet you guys are asking yourself, well, let's turn it into the best athletes we can possibly be because college coaches like athletes. So if we focus all of our energy on the recruiting process, we're going to lose sight of what's really important, which is being a good baseball player, plain and simple. So that's going to include daily checklists, monthly workout programs that are written by New York Mets strength coach. We're also going to get baseball strong. I'm not necessarily going to go over all of this, but we take into account where your son's currently at, and then that way all he has to do is simply just put in the work that's provided to him. We're also going to include sprinting programs. Again, becoming an athlete is going to be the same program that I did to decrease my 60-yard dash from an 8.4 to a 7.4. And this isn't more or less fancy. This isn't going to have all the bells and whistles. This is going to be more on how we mesh the mental and the physical together because it's really about how we are training and why we are doing certain things in a certain way, all right? right? So again, I'm not gonna go over every single one of these. Feel free to stop this video at any time if you want to read everything, or just simply download this document down below. We're also gonna include mobility modules to increase flexibility. In pro ball, we basically call these correctives because we want to correct maybe, for me, I have a pretty tight hip more times than not. So what separates us from the rest in this area comes down to the structure, really. So video demonstrations of all the movements, no more guessing on how to do a certain exercise or how many reps or the volume. Basically, you don't want to also just go through the motions. There should be a level of competitiveness with every single movement, and that way we're getting the most out of all of our lifts and drills. This is basically what a workout program looks like. All of those workouts have an embedded link that takes them all the way to a YouTube video, so it's quick, it's easy. Your player's never going to really feel stuck on what to do or how to do it. We also, really heavily focus on mental development, which is overall just increasing baseball IQ. The pro defense course was basically the St. Louis Cardinals handbook rewritten by me, and then also I use GIFs, which are like looping 2-second videos to really demonstrate that point. I'm a visual learner, your son's probably a visual learner, and this is an easier way to retain the information I'm teaching in the course. So this is my teaching style. You can see in the top right corner, that's me basically explaining the concept. We have those GIFs that are explaining how to do a certain exercise or what's going on, or maybe how to not do the certain exercise, right? So also the velo throwing program and arm care course. So this is how we are going to gain healthy velocity. It's also the way to do those preventative exercises to decrease injury. I also went from 82 miles an hour to 88 miles an hour using this program only in a span of 4 months. So we, again, we're going to be using those GIFs to incorporate that. There's a lot of guessing when it comes to increased velocity. Plyo balls, weighted balls, bands, long toss. It gets confusing very, very quickly. So I'm going to show you how to basically become your own best coach, especially with gaining velocity. Now, the recruiting process. This is going to be your A to Z process on how to land a college commitment through the college commitment blueprint, all right? Email templates, outreach systems, and strategies. This is ultimately the things that a lot of people, probably 99% of the people, do not take advantage of, but these are resources that are available. This is also going to work for you if you are talking to 0 schools. You don't know anything about the recruiting process. Again, I'm going to show you everything, all right? So also like social media training, a video editing crash course, the college grading system. If you have multiple offers on the table, I'm going to help guide you through that. This is basically what that college commitment blueprint course looks like with all the amazing resources. Ultimately, I just wish I had when I was in high school, all right? So you also will have access to the private community where you'll get 24/7 personalized support. You'll be able to DM me whenever. I use Slack, and this isn't going to be just some cookie cutter approach, right? So your son's problems are going to become my problems. His goals will also become my goals. Also, monthly Zoom calls, bi-weekly group calls, classroom sessions, and these are ultimately the small topics that we'll take a deep dive into. And these are the small, tiny little, granular little things that create great habits, such as eating well, nutrition, hydration, time management, creating short-term goals, recovery, all the things that you have probably told your son before. I'm just here to basically reiterate those things, all right? So let's dive a little bit deeper into the recruiting process, especially for you juniors and seniors out there. So our students email a minimum of 50 schools. We also send follow-up, emails to be able to reach out to them in case they didn't, see it maybe in the first place. I'll also teach you that outreach system to automate this process so it's less time-consuming than sending 10 manual emails. Our students are also intentional about building out their YouTube channels to make sure that that is an asset for these college coaches, and also a database to be able to have a lot of highlight videos and updates for these college coaches, all right? We're also going to strategically use social media to get that interest and exposure we're desperately looking for, and we're also go-getters. We are completely unreliant on these high school coaches, club coaches, or even travel ball coaches to connect your son with these college coaches. We are go-getters, and we're going to take the recruiting process in our own hands, because ultimately, if you want something done, you have to do it in today's age, all right? Also, our students are going to attend certain recruiting events, such as camps and showcases, to schools that they've already been in contact with. No need to just go to some random college camp and not necessarily get the best bang for your guys' buck. So using the triple play means your player will get into peak performance as a baseball player to pass the eye test. He's going to know what he's working on every single day. He also now has the desire to push himself even harder. He's also going to have that clarity with that confidence, which is just a simple equation. Preparation multiplied by experience equals confidence, right? You and him will have a structure for the recruiting process. That way you guys can focus on what really matters, which is the overall player development. We're not going to be waiting around for someone to deliver interest in us. We're going to generate that ourselves. And coaches watch more of our videos for longer. Ultimately, they are showing interest by the time that they're spending watching your son's video. And lastly, your player's going to have a massive competitive advantage. This is some proof, all right? So this is from Pete, Santiago's dad. Santiago has changed. He's more determined. Really appreciate what you're doing with him, right? I'm not necessarily going to go through every single one of these, but it is going to take some time. Aiden's getting some camp invites, but they are personalized. He's gotten some in the past couple of weeks. Johnny's just an all-around great athlete, running under a 7-second 60. Good exit velocity as well. He's getting interest from college coaches as well. So you guys can look at all these, which are on my website. There's no need for me to go through every single one of these because, again, it would take a lot of time. And I get it. It's the internet, right? Anyone can just take a screenshot. So here are some videos of my best students and parents talking about my program.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. Sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player. The last thing that I want to say, though, is that I think when we signed him up with your program, I think his sense of urgency changed for working out, and that his attention to detail changed. And there was a change in him as a ball player overall. I mean, there was definitely a different level, and the return of investment on it was surprising how fast it happened. And I think, to your point, like a lot of folks don't realize what the commitment is, but when you actually do the work, you see the results.
Seen a difference as far as his overall just structure?
Yeah, I think it's just he has a solid plan now, whereas he used to come home and spend all this time what should I do today? Should I lift? Not even knowing exactly what to do or what to throw. And now he comes home and he's like, okay, Dad, this is what I have to do, this and this, or Mom, I have to eat at this time, or can you sign me up for the gym? And we don't really have to direct him at all. I mean, he's 14, so I think that's pretty great. He's self-motivated, but also I think like you've kind of sent him in a direction where he can like really make a plan. And we didn't even know he scheduled this call with you. He's like, oh, I scheduled a call. I want to like ask him some like mental questions. And so I just feel like he like has a good plan and has someone to go to when he's not sure what to do. And I think that that's like really cool.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You know, you get the full structure. You get your lifting, you know, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and you know the hands-on approach from you.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like as before, like you talked about earlier, it's just coming in naturally.
It felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. Like, you do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. Like, you're a pretty good coach.
Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at the showcase, I hit 80.
That's
So
insane.
a lot.
8 miles an hour in like what? That's like 3 months, right?
Yeah, 3-4 months. Yeah.
That's insane, dude. And like, what would you say to someone that might be on the fence as far as like they might not believe in remote training or they might not want to join into my academy? Like, talk to them. Like, what would you say about the program?
Honestly, I would say you never know unless you don't try. Because 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Obviously, like my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. You know, it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
What's baseball like now, dude?
It's a lot of fun now, I would say. I find it a lot more enjoyable. Oh yeah, the confidence, the hitting, the running, fielding, you know, all that. It's a lot of fun now.
He's getting information, and then he's able to get to practice and starting to apply those, those techniques that you talked about in the video. Insight from the pro ball player. They would be in a huddle and they would ask Santiago a question, they would ask the group a question, and he would answer all of them, but he would answer them at a high level based on what you heard from the video. So I know Santiago was telling me he went to an infielders camp over Christmas, and he kept answering all the questions, and they were actually surprised at how in depth some of the answers were that he was given.
But here's what your player's going to do. He's going to gain the essential education to be able to build a tall pyramid. Think about it. If your son's base layer of a pyramid is tiny, he's not going to be able to build a super tall pyramid. But education, that foundational layer of that pyramid, if we're able to build it nice and wide, we're going to have the ability to have success in this game, play for a long time. He's also going to gain insight on how to become a competitive athlete. This is where the mental side of things come in. He has to be competitive against the other team, obviously. He has to be competitive with his own teammates every once in a while. But more importantly, he has to have that drive coming from within. He has to be competitive with himself every single day, through every single workout, every single practice, no matter what. He will also increase his overall structure as a person, guys. These are the habits that I build with all of my students. And this is how I define success, because ultimately, not everyone's going to play professional baseball, not everyone's going to play in college. But these are the habits that if we're able to instill in all of our students, if your son wants to become a doctor or a lawyer, he's going to have to understand how to work hard, how to be consistent, how to show up every single day. So these are the habits that I will instill in him, really not just being a baseball coach of his, but by being a mentor, all right? So we will help your player improve every single piece of their player development puzzle. And in the physical development, we're going to show him to train with baseball-specific movements. We're going to talk about the diet framework. We're going to talk about how to create a routine, how to take care of your arm. As far as the mental development, we're going to show him how to become a competitor, how to properly set goals, the mental strength approaches. Also, in the recruiting process, which I know you probably are very, very curious about, we're going to show you guys how college coaches ultimately watch videos, how to decipher a generic camp invite from a personalized one, showcases versus camps, best bang for your buck, things like that. What not to say in your email. Ultimately, I want you guys to sound like a baseball player when sending these emails to these college coaches, and what to do if they click on your emails but not respond. And we're always going to be, gathering that information and that data because it is very vital. So now let's take a look on the inside to see how everything works. All right, so this is an inside look of what the triple play looks like on the inside. So as you can tell, this is the triple play. You guys will join in, watch that welcome video, which is basically going to lay out expectations and really overall navigation and what to do in the meantime. We're also going to go through the 14-day challenge. This is basically, in a nutshell, I want your son to train the way that I train, not only in high school, not only in college, but also in pro ball. So we're going to go through these. It's very, very detailed as far as the expectations on when your son communicates with me, when he, maybe completes a certain homework task. All of those are very, very easily laid out as far as step by step. So the gym program. So each month we're going to refresh these with new workouts, and this is going to be all accessible on your son's phone as well. So you'll be able to just download that document. It's going to be very easy for him just to be able to open it up on his phone. And again, like I said, all of these have clickable links. You can see my cursor. You can go ahead and click on any of those. It'll send you over to a YouTube video. You can also obviously print this out, and then that way you can fill in your weights. All of it's going to be taken care of. October, Monday, lower body, that's what we're going to be focusing on. And then this is an upper body lift for October, Tuesday. Obviously, in the off season, we're going to increase volume. During the season, especially during the summer season, we're going to decrease that volume, all right? So that's what those workout programs look like, including the sprinting program and mobility modules, very, very similar. As far as the courses, this is the college commitment blueprint with all the templates, the outreach systems and strategies, the walkthrough, college visit grading system, things like that. This is the velo throwing program and arm care course. Again, using those GIFs to be able to visualize the demonstration, right? At the end of the day, if I handed over a piece of paper to your son, I don't think that he would even read it. So this is why I've taken so much time. These courses have taken me probably over like 3 or 4 months to really create. So it took me a lot of time to put effort into really how I would have liked to be trained and taught ultimately online. So again, those visual components of the GIFs are amazing. So a lot of information there. And then down below, there's also the pro defense course. So this is going to be, again, with sometimes iPad demonstrations, which I showcase a little bit on my YouTube channel. So again, if you want a little bit more information on my academy, just go ahead, watch some YouTube videos, because that's going to visualize really my teaching style. And a lot of the course inside the pro defense course is taught that same exact way. Also, your son's going to be able to schedule one-on-one calls with me roughly every month. The player journey, basically, if your player ever feels lost in his overall journey, he'll be able to go right here, and I'm going to guide him on an asset or maybe a resource to help him in this whole process. And these are also the classroom sessions. So again, like the goals, the nutrition, the short-term goals, time management, these are the things that you've already told your son about. Obviously, I'm here to reiterate them. And this is the community. So this is going to be all hosted on Slack, and this is going to be basically our central place of communication. As you can tell, Anthony and I were having a conversation. He sent in some videos. This was all before the onboarding call, so I really appreciate him doing that. This was a good base hit that he sent over. We had endless conversations. This is a quick little task that I have him do. This is a check-in that he did within a couple of days of joining the program. Sometimes I'll send like voice memos on like basically if he's doing something right or wrong. This is basically my way of showing to my students of like, obviously I want to make sure that they are on the path to success. So again, a lot of updates from him. This was an email that he sent over, so I wanted to make sure that he was changing some of this stuff up. But ultimately, this is everything that all my students are very, very excited for. There's also the group chat, which is where I send in the rules. Also, this is a group chat that we have every 2 weeks, and ultimately, if you're available, you'll be able to join in. They're also going to be recorded. And then also, I believe like Dane, just last night, he sent over like, hey, do you have any specific hitting routines? And instead of just like recording a video or maybe doing a voice memo, I just decided to take like a good 10 minutes to write like a very, very valuable post. And again, this is where we all communicate with each other. Every single one of my students are able to actually see my response. So that way we're all learning from each other. So now you need to think really, what is this costing you and your player by not having a plan in place? So you really have 3 options before we talk about what this is actually costing you. Option number 1, you can work with us. That would be great. Number 2, you can work with someone else. If you can find someone who can offer all 3, the physical development, the mental development, and the recruiting guidance, all coming from a 7-year pro. So think about if you can find that and really just like what that's going to cost, right? Or you can do option number 3, which is basically doing nothing at all. And I definitely want to advise you to stay away from this, right? Because ultimately you made it this far in this video means you've shown interest into getting your son better. And if you guys just don't take any action for the remainder of time, nothing's going to happen. It's a very scary place to be. So I don't want that for you or your player. So again, what is this costing you and your player by not having a plan in place? Well, financially around $175,000. And I'm going to explain what that means. But really, your son's not going to be able to, see his dreams become a reality. He might not ever see his dreams come true. And he might live with regret knowing he could have done something differently. But I say $175,000 is because, over the course of 4 years, in-state public 4-year institution would be around 108 for 4 years, 182 for 4 years for an out-of-state student, and 134,000 for a 4-year for a nonprofit university for a private school. So if we are able to generate a 25% scholarship for the average of $175,000 for the 4 years of school, it's about $43,000 that you guys are leaving on the table right now. So reminder though, because this isn't just about scholarships. We are not just a recruiting service. We are not a placement service, and we are not that middleman networking vehicle for your player. How to earn a baseball scholarship? Well, step number 1, it's super simple. Be a good baseball player. We don't need to overcomplicate it. Step number 1, player development. Let's become the best baseball player we can possibly be. And that is exactly what I will help your player with. All right. I will help maximize your player's potential. So if this interests you, even in the slightest, what should you do if you want to work with us? So step number 1, book a call down below. All right. To speak with me or my team. We'll walk through your situation on that call. And if we believe that we can help you and your player, we'll show you the roadmap to success within the triple play. All right. So if you're just curious about my academy, I totally get it. Just watch some of my YouTube videos. That is all I ask. All right. But if you and your player is serious about not only baseball, but playing baseball at the next level in college, book a call with me down below.